So this video was actually shot over 2 days. We did 2 dives at Phil Foster, one of them under the West Bridge and one of them under the East Bridge. We'd done both of these places before, but we were excited to see what had changed in the time since we'd been away. And we definitely got a few nice surprises. As usual these days, one of the first things that I was focusing on were bottom dwellers. And I found quite a few during these 2 sessions, such as these pipefish. I'm actually not sure what species that is, but this one here is the chain pipefish. There were also a few of these jawfish. Now they're quite shy, they won't come out of their holes too easily, so I'm not actually sure what species that one is, but it's pretty cool. Polka dot batfish were around as usual. They're usually pretty common in the park. I see them pretty much every dive I do there. But we saw a few of those. They're always nice to see. We also saw a couple of different kinds of sea robin. The leopard sea robin we saw a few of. I've shown you those in previous videos. But we also saw the blackwing sea robin for the first time. And you can tell the blackwing sea robin pretty easily by the sort of sky blue leading edge of the wings there, which is actually the pectoral fins, or part of the pectoral fins. And that one there has its wings tucked in, but you can just kind of see the blue on the edge there. And we saw a couple of those. And this here, some of you might recognize this. This is an Atlantic blue-spotted cornetfish, which I had seen quite a few of in Long Island the previous fall, but I'd never seen one in Florida, so it was interesting to see one underwater in its natural habitat. That's a southern puffer there. It's fairly uncommon at Phil Foster, so it's interesting to see that. Here's a green sea turtle here. Starting to see more and more of those at Phil Foster. This one was interesting because if you look closely, you'll notice these growths on its flipper there and on its neck, right where it hits the shell. And those are actually caused by turtle fibropapillomatosis. Chelonid alpha herpes virus 5 is the causative agent. And that's similar to papillomavirus seen in humans and in deer, actually. That's how I recognized it, because I'd seen similar things in deer before. But the growths are benign, and they don't cause much of an issue unless they start to really overgrow and cause movement issues. Here's another one. You can tell, actually, because this one didn't have the papillomatosis growths. And in the background there is Cool Critters, my fellow YouTuber who I shared a dive with. Had a good time with him. Here's me under the East Bridge. Visibility can be a little bit foggy under that bridge, but it doesn't really matter when you're scuba diving. When you're down by the bottom like that, you can see pretty well anyway. And this was pretty cool. This was a Atlantic Goliath Grouper, a juvenile, and I'd never seen this species at the bridge before. So that was pretty impressive. It was hiding under this sort of, I think it was a sheet of plastic or metal. But yeah, that was pretty cool. I'd never seen one at the bridge before. There's that old boat. I always check it. I did manage to get some pretty good shots of both the green razorfish and the pearly razorfish during these 2 dives. So I was pretty happy with that. These are obscure members of the wrasse family. And what's interesting about razorfish is when they feel threatened, they'll dive straight down into the sand, and it'll be like they were never there. You won't see the hole they went into. They'll just disappear into the sand. It's really, really cool. There's a long-spined porcupine fish. They're always really accommodating. Another thing I was noticing during these 2 dives was, especially under the East Bridge, there were tons of these freckled soapfish. Now last time I did the East Bridge, there was freckled and spotted soapfish. I didn't see any spotted this time, but I saw way more freckled soapfish. It was really amazing. There were tons of them. Unfortunately, also, there was quite a few of these lionfish, and these ones are actually juveniles. I did get some nice shots of them, but still, it's too bad. But there's nothing really we can do about them. They're here to stay, I think, at this point. There's a nice little group of fish there. There's a butter hamlet in the foreground. I always get the hamlets. Oh, this was the highlight, I think, of our 2 dives there. This, I believe, is a dotterel filefish, which is a fairly rare species of Aluterus. It's quite similar to the scrawled filefish, but the main difference is that the dotterel filefish lacks the black spots that you can see on the face of the scrawled filefish. And it also tends to sort of hang sort of perpendicular to the ground like that, like you see there. Scrawled filefish pretty much never do that. So that was really cool. I'd say that was probably the highlight of the dives. Another thing were these spotted eagle rays that you can see that one sort of photobombing the spotted porcupine fish there. But there were a couple of those, and those are always really impressive to see underwater. They're just really majestic. And not to be forgotten, there's the porcupine fish again. Sharp-tailed eel was less common on these 2 dives than that they have been in the past. We saw a few by the West Bridge, but I didn't see any under the East Bridge this time, which was surprising because there were tons of them there last time. This one in particular was interesting because we saw it engaging in feeding behavior, which you can see here. It was sort of after something underneath that rock or piece of coral there. So that was interesting to see. I hadn't seen that before. There's purple mouth moray there. Pretty cute. I think morays are really cute. If you look carefully, you can see some interesting sort of red and white shrimp there. There's a hogfish, which is a really cool species of fish, actually. It's like a giant wrasse, actually. And they change color really easily, constantly. There's a barred hamlet, a small one. Some Caribbean sharp-nosed puffers there, too. And here's a better shot of a common mantis shrimp. I saw one last time, but I got a little bit of a better shot this time for you. And this was an interesting sort of green-colored one. The other thing that I saw on these 2 dives were black sea bass, which I'd never seen in the park before. It was interesting because they're sort of more northern species, so that was pretty impressive. But that was it for those 2 dives, and they were really quite productive. The dotterel filefish was really cool. I was really happy with that. And, of course, I enjoyed seeing everything else, too. I hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for videos in Grand Cayman, and also a return to Cozumel coming soon. Thank you.